Welcome to Sounds of the Unknown, where we explore the unexplainable and dive deep into the eerie stories that haunt our world. Tonight we take you to the misty marshlands of East Anglia, where a strange figure, known only as the Lantern Man, has haunted locals for over a century. Is it a warning, or something far more sinister? Stay with us as we unravel the chilling tale. It was the early 1900s in the East Anglian countryside. Farmers and villagers often spoke of strange lights hovering over the marshes at night. These lights, faint at first, would appear in the distance, bobbing up and down as if someone were walking with a lantern. However, whenever anyone tried to approach, the light would vanish into the fog. At first, people dismissed the sightings. "It's just swamp gas," they'd say, trying to explain away the mysterious lights. But the sightings became more frequent and the stories more chilling. Then, one by one, people started to disappear. Each time someone vanished, witnesses reported seeing the same glowing lantern light floating in the distance before they were last seen. The village fell into fear. Mothers warned their children not to stay out too late, and men who once prided themselves on their bravery would hurry home before darkness fell. The light had become a harbinger, a symbol of death. In 1910, a local farmer named Thomas Baker became part of the legend. Thomas was a no-nonsense man, someone who didn't believe in ghosts or superstitions. He had lived on his family's farm for decades, working the land like his father and grandfather before him. But one fateful night, as he walked home from the neighboring village, Thomas encountered the light. It started innocuously enough. At first he thought it was another villager heading home, but as he continued on his path, the light seemed to draw nearer, faster than before. It wasn't long before Thomas realized there was something unnatural about the way the lantern moved. It hovered, swaying as if carried by an invisible hand. And what's more, there was no figure to be seen. Thomas felt an eerie chill creeping up his spine. He was no longer walking toward the village. He was now being pursued by the light. His pace quickened, but no matter how fast he walked, the light came closer. Soon it was right behind him. Just as Thomas felt the cold light brush against his back, he tripped over a rock and fell to the ground. In that moment of terror, he thought it was over. But as suddenly as it had appeared, the light vanished with a crack of thunder. Thomas scrambled to his feet and ran home, shaken and breathless. Word spread quickly. Thomas Baker's story became the talk of the village, and soon even neighboring towns began to hear of the Lantern Man. Theories swirled. Some believed it was the ghost of a farmer who had been murdered in the marshes, forever wandering with his lantern in search of justice. Others believed the light was a warning, a way of drawing people toward their doom. But despite the fear that gripped the community, sightings of the Lantern Man continued. There were whispers of more disappearances, people vanishing without a trace after encountering the light. And every time the story was the same. The light would appear, float closer, and the victim would be seen no more. By the 1950s, the legend of the Lantern Man had become so ingrained in the local culture that few dared to question it. But David Richardson, a professor from London, was not so easily convinced. An academic and a skeptic, David was determined to debunk the myth once and for all. Armed with a lantern of his own, he set out into the marshes one foggy evening. At first, the quiet marshlands seemed peaceful. David scoffed at the thought of ghostly lights. But as the night deepened, a strange sensation washed over him. In the distance, through the thick mist, he saw it. a lantern faint but unmistakable. He was sure it was his own reflection, a trick of the light, but as he moved, the other lantern did not mirror his actions. Instead, it began to drift closer. David's heart raced. The lantern, glowing with an unnatural light, moved faster. He could feel an icy cold creeping into his skin. Something was wrong. He wanted to turn back, but his legs seemed to carry him forward, as if drawn by the light. As the lantern approached, David felt a pull, an urge to follow it, to let it lead him deeper into the marsh. But as he stumbled forward, he tripped and fell, breaking the strange trance that had gripped him. Gasping for breath, he turned to find the light had disappeared. David returned to London, never to speak of the Lantern Man again. Despite David Richardson's experience, which he never spoke of again, the legend of the Lantern Man did not fade. In fact, it grew stronger. As more stories emerged, it became clear that the Lantern Man's reach extended far beyond the marshes. Sightings began to occur in neighboring towns and regions. The same pale light, floating in the distance, would appear near desolate roads or abandoned houses, and just like before, the light seemed to pull those who saw it deeper into its grip. Witnesses spoke of feeling an irresistible pull, much like David had described, a tug on their very souls, as if something beyond the physical world was calling to them. But one by one they vanished. The stories all ended the same way. No one who followed the light was ever seen again. Some say the Lantern Man was growing stronger, while others believed it was a curse that had spread. Whatever the explanation, the haunting continued, and the light kept searching for its next victim. The legend of the Lantern Man lives on, whispered among villagers to this day. On stormy nights, the glowing light can still be seen, drifting through the foggy marshes. Some say it is a warning. Others believe it is a call to those who dare to follow. But one thing remains certain. Those who follow the Lantern Man are never seen again. This has been another chilling tale from Sounds of the Unknown. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more eerie tales from the paranormal world.